Lonely Monk Productions. I don't know if y'all have heard Anarchy by Lasibu Grand yet, but yo, that's my Jawn! Hey yo, displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. You're tasting things that don't need to be measured. You ain't being What's good, friends and family, neighbors near and far? Welcome to an all-new episode of the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast. The podcast, website, brand, movement, way of life dedicated to the embrace and championing of your passions. I'm your host, Nate Runkle, a.k.a. John Renault, a.k.a. Nate 3.0, back at it again with yet another episode of the podcast. As always, I hope this podcast finds you all in good health and in good spirits. On today's episode, I am joined by writer-director Nicole Riegel. Nicole's latest film, Dandelion, is out now, as is the soundtrack of the film, which features new original music by Aaron and Bryce Dessner of The National, as well as the cast of the film. We talk about the film and society and social media and the weaponization of culture and so much more. It is such a fantastic conversation, and that is coming up in a minute. But first, hey all, what is good? So you remember last episode when I was all like, I think I'm going to take a week or so off. Well, that kind of fell through, so much so that I think I may actually have an extra episode coming out next week because, as the old adage goes, when it rains, it pours. I had a bunch of people who I've been dying to chat with all of a sudden have availability open up, and, well, I didn't want to miss out on those conversations, and so here we go. So yeah, keep an eye out on your feeds. We have a bunch of great chats coming up here in the next few weeks, and you will not want to miss them. I guess, I'll take a break some other time. But the best way to stay on top of everything is to follow us on the socials at Yo, That's My Jawn. IG, X, Threads, Facebook, all of it, at Yo, That's My Jawn. You can also visit us at www.yothat'smyjawn.com. That'll take you to the link tree with links to the website, the mailing list, merchandise, guest appearance on other pods, all kinds of good stuff. And, speaking of merchandise, we have a brand new t-shirt up in the store inspired by my conversation with Nicole today. It is the Destroy All Algorithms t-shirt, and it is available for purchase. Check it out. It makes me chuckle. Visit www.yothat'smyjawn.com for links to all of that. Alrighty, you guys have been good enough. Are you ready? Let's jump on in. My guest today is a writer, producer, director who was named by Variety one of the 10 directors to watch in 2020. Her first film, Holler, nabbed her a nomination for an Independent Spirit Award for Best First Feature. Her latest film, Dandelion, is a poignant look at the nature of being a creative in today's society and tells the story of a singer-songwriter in a downward spiral who takes a last-ditch effort gig at a motorcycle rally in South Dakota. And it features a soundtrack with new music by Aaron and Bryce Dessner of the band The National, written specifically for the film. Folks, it is my honor to welcome to the show, Nicole Riegel. Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined today by the great Nicole Riegel. Nicole, thank you for joining me on Yo, That's My Jawn.
Thanks for having me.
So I'm super excited to talk to you. One of the things that kind of came into my orbit before even actually learning truly about the film was the soundtrack itself, because I'm a big fan of the Dessner brothers, and so that's how you kind of came onto my radar. And then as I dug more into the film, I just was like, this is somebody who I would absolutely love to talk to, because not only just does this film kind of fit into all of the things that I love, not just about film, but music and creativity, but also you seemingly, and I'm sure you're going to prove it, a very fascinating person, and all of the interviews I've seen and read with you, you seem like an incredible person. So I can't wait to, I'm so happy to be able to pick your brain here.
Thank you. Yes, pick away. Let's hang.
So I always like to start all of these conversations out with I like to call it the Wayback Machine. Tell me a little bit about Nicole as a little kid. Where did you grow up?
Oh my God. I grew up in Jackson, Ohio, a Midwest gal. It's a town of 6,000 people. And I grew up raised by a single mom and my grandmother. and didn't have, like when I was a really little kid, we didn't have a lot of money. But I, had old cameras put in my hands and was always writing and can't think of anything I wanted to do with the rest of my life except make movies since I can't remember anything before that. I really can't. And then I worked at a movie theater in Jackson, Ohio. That was my high school job and helped with the projection. I sold tickets, I swept popcorn off the floor, I sold Skittles. I did all of that and I would just go in these theaters and sweep popcorn afterwards and watch all the credits roll. And it's like, man, it'd be really, I want to do that. I want to know what everyone, it's like, I see hundreds of names up there. What do all these people do? They all like make this thing that I love. And I knew I was loving movies more than the average person. I was
Yeah.
loving them in a different way. It wasn't, oh, I'm entertained by it and this is cool. This isn't celebrity or money to me. I was like, I literally like feel so connected to these movies and these stories on screen and these characters and I'm in their lives and I really need to be doing what I'm seeing happening on the screen and I have no idea where to begin or where to start or how to do that. And I was like a C student at best. I just had no attention span for school. I was, I wouldn't do my math homework. Instead, I would figure out how to write a screenplay and I'd write it and do that instead. There wasn't a lot of, there was some, but not a lot of devotion to the arts in my high school, which I'm sure is like most high schools in the country. But it was an obsession. And back when you could rent movies, which how fun was going to Blockbuster, Movie Gallery, renting movies and just racking up late charges at all these places like I did. But I went there when, do you remember when on VHS? This is when before DVD was coming in. It had that logo DVD, like before movies.
Uh-huh.
But it was VHS, and they had these pieces of foam stuffed inside the VHS cases. And if the movie wasn't in when you rented it in my hometown, they just had a little card that said out with a rubber band, and you knew the movie was out. And I would call to be like, when has the person returned it yet? When are they returning it? And all the video stores knew in my hometown to call me when it was in. Like I knew. Like I mean, I didn't go to parties. I didn't have a social life. I didn't hang out with anyone. I just like used my paychecks to rent movies and buy books about movies every weekend.
It's a, it's a lost art, the rental. I feel like, going in and seeing, knowing nothing more about a film than what's written on the back of the box or whatnot.
Yeah, or the
And
art or what's on it. And if it's out, it's out. You can't just go get it on streaming or Netflix. Like you had to wait. You had to wait and you had to hope the other person who wanted to rent the craft didn't show up the same time as you or, had a faster car or something. Like you had to be there. And when they called, you had to go get it because someone might be there and they might pick it up. But then when DVDs started, right? They would have four or five of them behind it. So now not just one copy, but then they had other copies. So there was more. Yeah. Like I remember that. And it was, I think I still have some of my plastic cards, laminated movie rental cards. But my late fees died with the movie
that's
theaters. Like their late fees I never paid from Movie Gallery. I'm so sorry, Movie Gallery, but my late fees died with that.
it's so funny you said you still have the cards because I literally was going through an old box from my dad passed away a few years ago and we cleared out the house and
Sorry.
stuff like that. And oh, thank you. Most of the stuff, I'm in my basement right now. I'm surrounded by most of the stuff that I grew up with. It's all boxed up and all. And I was going through one of them the other day and I found an old Blockbuster gift certificate, and I was like, oh man. Like, I can't believe I didn't use this. Like,
Isn't there one Blockbuster in the world that you can still use? There's like one.
I think there is. Yeah, I think they even
Yeah, I
made a
forget where it
documentary or
is.
something.
But
Yeah.
you talked about something a minute ago. You said about when you said your father passed away, and they said, "I'm sorry," and like, there's something I'm like isn't it funny how and frustrating how when you lose a loved one, all we can think of to say is I'm sorry. It's like the shittiest thing. Like on one side of the table, it's like you don't know what to say, but you feel like you have to say something. And then on the one receiving it, it's like it's maybe better to just hear nothing. It's like I know how that feels to hear I'm sorry, and it's like it would make me feel better if you said nothing.
Do
Like
you know?
people don't know how to console, and
Right.
it like I lost like I know it's not father, but I lost both of my dogs while making this movie.
Oh,
And they were one of them 10 and a half years old. He's my best friend. And he's credited in the at the end. You see little blue paw prints and loving memory, and it's them. And then 2 days later, I had to go film the movie. And nobody knew what to say to me except, I'm sorry or thinking of you. And I'm like, what am I wanting people to
yeah.
say to me? And it's like, it's a shitty situation. Like, we have to figure out how to console people. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't know what would console you or what works, but I know that I'm sorry just doesn't do it for me.
You know, it's weird because like and I'm going to precursor this. You don't have to apologize for this one, but my mom passed away when I was in my 20s. Okay, and but like so that one like for a while it was like people would say sorry and stuff like that, and then like it would affect me. Like I would kind of feel something about it, but then
Mhm.
like as time goes by, it would be like, oh no, you don't have to be sorry. Like it was 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
weird how like yes, it
Yeah.
still hurts and it's still there, but like at a certain point you just go, oh yeah, no, I mean like
Yeah.
I was saying it like my hat is black, or you know
Yeah.
what I mean,
You know,
like
there are books out there, and I read a lot about this because when I've experienced that kind of loss, the permanence of it in my life, people I would get mad if they didn't consult say it in the right like way or find the words, and some people do. I find it's people who know exactly how you feel and have experienced it. They know what to say, right? They know the words. And so I looked it up, and there are actual places you can go online. There's books, there's websites, like there are tips out there for how to console. Everyone needs to go look at them. We need to get better at consoling people in society and finding the words. When someone loses their beloved dog, do not ask them when they're getting another dog.
oh
Like
my
you're a
god,
fucking
yeah,
asshole. Like you're an asshole. Don't do that. Like you don't go up to someone and say, "Oh, when are you getting another sister?" Like
right.
no. Like just don't just say nothing or go to the generic I'm sorry, but do not ask people when they're getting another dog. Like, don't be that asshole.
Right, and the other tightrope dance, but like you said, coming from a place of shared experience with it does make it, like you kind of do navigate it better. But like the how much to ask and engage in that, like is also another hard thing to do because you don't want to blow past it and pretend like you didn't hear it, but also you don't want to make them rehash something that they're kind of going
Yeah,
through. It's a struggle.
yeah, yeah.
I heard an interview with Sean Lennon once, who said that he gets angry because a lot of times people say to him, "You don't know how much your dad meant to me," and his answer is, "I fucking do. He was my father." You know what I mean? Like, and
Yes,
and
totally.
and it's not like those
Absolutely.
people are trying to be insensitive. They're trying to kind of relate.
They don't know what to say. I think, one thing that's on that tip list that works, because we're talking like what not to do. So I was like, I should throw out a what to do is listen. Like ask the person, do you if you have the time, right? If you were that person time, be like, do you, and it has to be sincere. I should say that as well. Do you want to, is there anything you want me to hear, you want to talk about? Or, hey, reach out to me if you ever just want to vent. Boom. That's all you have to say. That's all you
Yeah.
have to say. Like you have to listen. It's not about you saying the right thing. It's about you offering the space for them to say the thing.
Absolutely. And it's really funny that it's not funny, but it's really there's a synergy to it because you use the word listen there, and I didn't get a chance to finish the film yet, and I'm going to
Oh
explain what
my
happened.
gosh. Yeah,
I'm
I know.
gonna
I was like, how's he going to bring this dark topic back around to the film? This will be fun to
watch me.
watch.
I'm the king of this. I'm the king of the segue. Because, and I'm going to explain why, because the screener was sent to me, but then I just saw that it's playing in town, like a few minutes from me. So I want to
Oh,
see it on
that's
the
where
big
you
screen.
have to go. Yeah,
Yeah,
screw the
I don't
screw
want to
the
watch the screener.
screener.
Yeah.
No,
So
yeah, you're
so
doing
I
the right thing.
apologize, but with good reason. But one of the things, reading everything about the film and whatnot is this idea of musicians wanting to be heard, right? And needing to be heard, and kind
Mhm.
of giving them the space to be heard. And I wrote down, listening as a tag word, not a tag word, but something I wanted to kind of breach, because I honestly think it's outside of music, it's outside of film, it's outside of creativity. I just don't think as a society we listen anymore. And I think like social media is all like, putting everything out there, but who's receiving it? You know what I mean? Like, and
You're totally right. Oh man,
you,
I'd never thought of it like that. You're totally right.
it's weird because like the answers are there, right? Like you just have to hear what other people are saying, and then you go, oh, now I understand why someone might vote the way they vote, or someone might, you know what I mean? Like they're all just trying to tell you. You're just not listening to them because you're trying to tell them your own thing.
Yes.
It's
Yep,
it
you're right.
it's I feel like there's definitely a way out of it. I just don't know. I don't know it. I don't have the
Yeah.
answer myself, but yeah. So when you were a kid and you were can you you were in love with film from the start. Can you remember the first one that wasn't just I'm enjoying this, but was I want to make this?
There's two,
Okay.
and it's hard to pick. One was the movie Splendor in the Grass by Elia Kazan that my grandmother showed to me. And I just fell in love with Warren Beatty and Natalie Wood's performances and just everything about that film, everything about it. And I love the bittersweetness of it. I like beautiful melancholy. I like things that are beautifully sad. So of course I'm going to work with the Dessners.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
I have a hat. I have one of their hats that I'm not wearing today. I have my Kodak one on today, but someone made fun of their band, calling them because they're older now, called them a bunch of sad dads. And so they made merch. They have a black hat that says sad dads, and I love wearing
Amazing.
it.
That's amazing.
As an aside, but that one did it. And then one that's so opposite is the movie Scream, the Scream movies. It's like a fun nerd fact about me is I'm obsessed with those movies and knowing everything about them. I could probably kick some major ass at Scream trivia. But the original one, I rented it and ordered and had like a Domino's pizza and was watching it at my grandma's house in the dark. And she went downstairs while I was watching it. And phones ring a lot in that movie, right? Phones ring a lot from Ghostface. And my grandma prank called me from another room in the house while I was watching it. Scared the piss out of me. Um, and yeah, and I just remember watching the original Scream and all of them, that opening scene with Drew Barrymore in the house, but all of them. But I remember watching that and thinking, oh my God, like I want to like maybe I don't make this, but I just need to be a part of this. I need to be a part of what I'm watching right now. And I remember feeling like that those movies were for my like generate like I'm a solid millennial. I know that borders those movies border a little Gen X, but I just remember being like the self-referential, the violence, school shootings, mass shootings, like my generation, we were like at the beginning of that. And I remember those screen movies and like there's something here about a love of what we see on screen and how it impacts us. Um, I'm I am relating to this. I'm tapping into this movie as more than just a horror film or a horror franchise. I'm really tapping into what Wes Craven's making here, and I want to be a part of it. And that was so those two. So they're very opposite. Until this day, no one would expect me to say this. I am dying to direct a Scream movie. Um, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would love it. I'd devote my life to it. No woman has ever directed a Scream movie. I would love to. I love what the directors, it was falling off for me. And I love what the directors did with this latest installment, Scream 6. I thought it was amazing. Um, and now for so many reasons, we know that's not moving forward or happening,
Right.
but I don't know. Maybe they'll hit me up. I would love
That's
to do it.
let's put that like I'm big into let's put that energy out there because like
Put that energy out
that would
there.
be incredible. Do you have
No
would
one's
you
watching Dandelion and Holler and being like, Scream franchise.
oh, I don't know. You never know. Like
But that's the
I
kind of person they should hire, right? They should
right.
hire someone like that.
Would you you know if you were tapped for that, would you want to write it as well or would you or could
I wouldn't
you
have to write it. I
yeah.
wouldn't have to write it, no. But I know
But
what it is. Like as a fan, I know, and a director, I know what it is, and I know what I would do with it. I love how they've handed it over to the next generation and they've expanded it. I love that it's able to expand and not just stay in Woodsboro. Um, the thing I'm curious to see in the story and where it goes, because these characters are so rich and beloved, is I would like to see the daughter, Billy Loomis's daughter, and Sydney meet. Like I
mhm.
would like I think there needs to be a meeting there. Um, I would be interested in that. And I know why there are reasons why they didn't, and Sydney Prescott doesn't come back in the last one. But I would definitely like to see them meet.
That'd be killer. That'd be, no pun
Yeah.
intended.
Yeah.
In this Scream Love, did you do the TV show too, or is
I
this
didn't do
strictly
the TV
okay?
show. Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't
good.
do the TV show.
Yeah, you didn't miss anything
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but
No offense.
I love what those directors did with this last one. I really do. I think I would want someone else to write it though,
Yeah,
because for me, there is a point when if you're directing something you're a really big fan of, I think there does need to be like some sort of separation.
yeah,
And there's a way that I have a very specific writing style that I don't think work. Like the way if you read how I write on the page, I don't know that it works for screen.
yeah,
Like I would like to have an outside like perspective. I'd like to have someone work with me on it who is like someone who works in horror constantly. Like I would like to have that person to work with on it to
yeah.
balance me out.
That's cool. That's super cool. I really like I said, I'm putting that energy out there because that would be absolutely stellar.
I'd
Um,
die. It would be like childhood dream come true. I would be the most unexpected choice.
but those are the best, like you said, those are the best choices. You know, when you bring in like a fresh voice or something that isn't expected, you know, 9 times out of 10 find something in there that has always been there, but somebody else might not have seen. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, there's another one I want. I have these like I want to keep doing what I'm doing, but then I have like the couple dream projects that are like super mainstream that I genuinely love and would love to do. And that's one. And the other actually is something with Marvel. I'm not a big Marvel person at all. There's just one passion that I have there, just one. And it's like I'm not gonna go be a Marvel director and do a bunch of movies there. It just happens the one thing I do love is a comic there. It's called Gwenpool.
yes, of
And
course.
yeah, Gwenpool. And what I love about Gwenpool is that Gwenpool hates, if you're familiar with her lore, she's like this almost millennial Gen Z Brooklyn hipster with a ton of student loan debt and loves art house films and fucking hates Marvel and comic books. She hates anything mainstream. It's like Phoebe Bridgers as a superhero. And she hates it. And I was like, it would be so amazing if you have Gwenpool and the whole thing starts with I hate Marvel movies. And it's self-referential in a way, like Scream is. And it's about this young hipster Brooklyn girl who gets sucked into the world, the Deadpool, the world and is asked, the only way she can get out of it is she has to go be Gwenpool. And she fucking hates it. And the only reason she's doing it is they say her student loan debt will be forgiven. And so that's why she does it. And she hates it. And like there's a scene, the way I would do it is there's a scene in it, like in Barbie, where she actually goes to the Marvel headquarters and is just like wants to tear the place down and is like, I hate this. I hate everything you stand for. I hate Marvel movies. It's the same shit over and over and over. All you do is regurgitate it because right now Marvel is hurting. Like people are tired of it. And I'm like, then why don't you make a movie about that? And Gwenpool's the perfect snarky, like character to do it, like the perfect amount of entertaining cynicism of let's put a character up there who hates you and hates Marvel and has very grounded, realistic reasons for entering into this alternate meta universe where she has to defeat these bad guys and she has to save Marvel and this thing that she absolutely hates. But how do you make a movie where you find like depth and heart in it? But it's about her hatred. But what the movie's really about is like where we are now as a society with all these conglomerates, all this consolidation, all of like just money, 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 Marvel everywhere, superheroes everywhere. Like it's about that.
It's brilliant. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. Let's put
It's
that
a
energy
Marvel
out
movie
there.
for people who don't like Marvel movies. I
Yeah.
don't like them. But you would get me to see this one. I do like Deadpool, but like you would get me to see this one. And I'm like, why aren't we making a movie for people who don't like Marvel movies? And it has to be a person who doesn't like Marvel movies to make that movie.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting about that? I have this long gestating pitch that like has kind of popped up in other kind of properties and stuff like that. So like I feel like it's useless to even try anymore. But I wanted to write. I want this is what I want from the kind of big properties like Marvel and Star Wars, especially when you have like something like Disney Plus at your fingertips to be able to put it out. Is
Yeah.
I want them to make like I want a comedy set in the Marvel universe that has nothing to do with any of the superheroes. It's just people who live in those universe. I want a
I
Star
would
Wars
watch a
rom.
Star Wars. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I
No,
don't actually understand what's happening in the movies.
okay, that's fair. That's
So
fair.
I would watch that one.
You're talking to somebody who got married dressed as Han Solo to his wife who was dressed as Princess Leia, but it's fine. You won't lose any cool points.
No,
But
no,
but
no. I would watch that one though.
yeah, or like in the Star Wars universe, I want like a romantic comedy that just happens to take place during the Galactic Civil War. You know what I mean? Like these kind of weird like
Yes.
in the background while everything's going on. There's a
Yes.
meet cute. Like stuff
I
like that.
love it. I
But
love that. Okay, you would get me in on that.
okay,
Like
cool.
in Gwenpool, it would be like, but okay, here, the thing I don't get about Star Wars at times is something I don't really get about Marvel, about some of the Marvel movies where it's like, we need to save the world from this vague thing, and we're going to use this uh, intergalactic bad man gun thing and it's like, what is that thing? Like, speak more specific. Like, what is this thing? Who are you fighting and why are you fighting? It's just like generic antagonism and these like generic wars where I'm like, can we get a little more specific on like when I watch a Marvel movie, I don't know what's happening. I'm like,
Yeah.
I went to see Black Widow in a theater and there were things I liked about it. I was like, okay, I think this director, I saw glimpses of her in it and was trying to do something cool, but at the end of the day, I was like, who's the bad guy? Why are they so bad? Like beyond bad guy doing something bad,
Right.
taking
Yes.
over the world, power. And I'm like, can we get a little more specific than that?
Well, it's weird, and like I've noticed this a lot in pop culture, and it's something I really wish we would get away from. Just like not just because of the triggering aspects of it, but just the laziness and the shorthandedness, which is I know that this is a bad guy because this bad guy threatened to rape somebody. All right, it's the to me it's like the laziest. Like they do it so much, and it's in so much stuff. Like oh the like this must be a really bad guy because there's the threat of rape. Like and I'm just like
Yeah.
you got to be able to make a three-dimensional character who's a villain who that's not just the go-to. You know what I mean? Like it's weird
Yeah,
to me.
it's always, what you said, I think leaks into a like it leaks outside of movies, what you just said, where I think in these, when you look at Me Too, Time's Up, or if you look at Black Lives Matter, but especially Me Too and Time's Up, it's the threat of you're ending a life or you're raping or harassing someone. And I'm like, can we, that should stay intact, but that's important. Can we progress and or advance the conversation to now include the quiet racism and sexism? That isn't just, it's not just racism or sexism if someone's going to rape, assault, or harass you or kill you. There's also the everyday workplace
Yeah.
sex or racism. We're not including that. And so I think because we're not, people in the workplace feel like, I know in movies and TV at least, mostly movies, they feel like their behavior is okay because it's not like they're a rapist. And
Right.
like, can Me Too be inclusive of the majority of what we actually face?
Yeah. Well, I think part of the problem is it goes back to the shorthand and simplicity is when it's something extreme like that and cut and dry, you don't have to have a nuanced conversation about it, right? You don't have to
Yeah, I
admit,
don't
you
think
don't,
we're having nuanced conversations on any. I don't think Me Too's nuanced at all.
right, exactly. Which is why, like, even the things that kind of brush up against it, like, I think about how awkward things got when we started talking about, like, I don't know if you remember the Aziz Ansari story that had come out, which was, one side was like, well, that just sounds like a bad date. And it's like, okay, but are you not understanding that, like, it doesn't have to be, and also that to be, to kind of perpetrate in these kind of sexism and racism and stuff like that doesn't mean that you're a rapist. Like you
Yeah, like I
can,
think there was something with him, and Bill Murray and later on a movie or something and Bill Murray said some old man shit
right.
and as one does and it's like you're treated like you're a rapist and you're fired. Look, I wasn't on that movie. I maybe have no idea what I'm talking about right now, but I do think there needs to be a little more, nuance. Like one thing that really annoys me in the culture and absolutely is in the movie industry. And it's a big gripe of mine because I'm a director. I have a very equal crew. I have a very diverse crew. My entire camera team's women. I have faced so much sexism in my everyday life in movies, far more than in television. I could fill a book already with what I have faced. And so, but one thing I don't like that I think undermines that experience and hurts so many experiences is the handful of people that are weaponizing the culture to get their way. Like you wouldn't believe the times I hear someone say, I feel unsafe, or using the word safe or safety. We are not on the same excuse me, wavelength anymore about the definition of words. And I am a professional writer, so I value verbiage and like the language, the English language or all language, like so much. Um, if when someone says they don't feel safe, I say, are you being human trafficked? Are you being
Right.
physically harmed? Are you being assaulted, sexually harassed? Are you like on a plane and someone's threatening you and you can't go to the bathroom? Can you not leave your office because someone's outside with a gun or they're going to smack you or something? To me, that's safety.
Yeah.
Now, I think people are using it today, meaning comfortability. Are you uncomfortable? Are you uncomfortable being in a room with a person? I'm uncomfortable in rooms with tons of people I share rooms with every day. That's called life and being a human being. But we now use safety to mean comfortability.
Yes,
And that I'm
definitely.
not on board with, and I will never be on board with, and I will never not stand up to that.
And like it goes back to the nuance thing because like and to me like it hurts the fight. It hurts to be able to,
Yes, there's too many people out there. There's too many women out there who are in unsafe positions and they are silent about it because they feel they don't have the power to speak up. And whenever you have some wild card out there weaponizing the culture in that way, in a very vocal way, you on the fringe are hurting all these quiet people out there who actually are in unsafe. You're hurting the majority of people who are out there in unsafe positions.
yeah. Yeah, it's so
Because
true.
then everyone thinks they're just like you and they're not.
Yeah. It's it's like you said, words do matter, and
Words
words
matter. They
like
matter. Yeah.
yeah. And even saying I'm uncomfortable, like address that, name it, you know what I mean? Just don't kind
Yeah.
of, like you said, weaponize it. Don't use it to.
Yeah. Yeah, don't say I feel unsafe. Say I feel uncomfortable. If someone says I feel unsafe, if someone says they feel unsafe to you in the workplace, then I think you have the right to ask them to define it. How are you unsafe? And you don't get the right to just say, well, you do, you have freedom of speech, but I think it is morally and ethically wrong to say, I feel unsafe when you are not unsafe. You are uncomfortable. That is, that does reputational damage to another person, and they have the right to come after you for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cannot use that. You need to be very, very careful with your words today. I have, I don't know in my life if maybe once, I don't know if ever more than that, anyone has ever made me feel unsafe. Plenty have made me feel uncomfortable, but they're not going to harm me. I just don't want to be in a room with them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I'm unsafe. And I'm very, very worried about our culture today. And I'm worried about it in the arts and that we are not making that distinction, and people are too afraid to push on people to make that distinction.
Yeah. Well, it's part of I feel like it's part of the paradigm shift, right? Like it always kind of, the pendulum always kind of pushes too far and hopefully kind of, moves things to where it needs to be. I think that it's kind of also difficult for people to hear. It goes back to listening, to hear that, that they're making that someone feels uncomfortable around them and stuff like that, without feeling like I just feel like there's this villain culture, where
Yeah.
people
Oh,
are
totally
afraid of
right.
being the villain and fight against being the villain because
And it's
in
so
their
easy
heart.
to become, sorry to interrupt,
Right.
like I'm
No,
just
you're
like
right.
so
Yes.
like it's so hard, it's so easy. So if someone were to say, "Oh, you make me uncomfortable," why don't you just say how that person's making you uncomfortable and they can adjust that behavior and not no longer make you uncomfortable. But
Right.
we're seeing a select few weaponizing the culture to get their way and saying, "Hey, you made me unsafe," and then it just shuts people down. Because
That's it.
who at a company is going to speak up against that? Because then you get in trouble. And I hope you're right about the pendulum and the way it's swinging. I do believe the majority of people agree with what we're saying on this call. I really do. But we don't live in it. The culture right now is that you say it privately, you say it at dinner parties, you say it with your friends, you say it. And I think that bridges political beliefs, religious beliefs, white, black, purple, brown, man, woman, trans, bi, straight. I think we are all, as a culture, a little fed up with the select few using it to weaponize culture and what it does to the majority who really are in those unsafe positions and how it hurts them. And you know why I think we're all getting fed up with it? It's because it's expecting everyone to be perfect.
Yes.
It's
But
expecting everyone to walk on eggshells. And it was Barack Obama who said we are all going to have to get used to having imperfect allies.
that's right. It's true. It's that fear, like, there's that fear of kind of being essentially kicked out of the village, except for the village now is the globe. It's not
We're all about to be. What happens when we're all kicked out?
that's right.
Except those imperfect people. What happens when we're all kicked out?
And it's all presenting, you know what I mean? Like I think that's the other frustrating part. It's all the kind of avatar version of self. I feel like sometimes you see that in apologies and stuff like that. It's like you're
Oh
not
yeah.
there's, I guess what it comes down to is I wish we could return to a time when people were genuine is what it really
Oh
comes
yeah,
down
it's
to.
all performative. Like a real, you know, I apologized to someone about a month ago who I um, worked with on something. And I really, upon reflection, I was like, wow, I don't like how I treated that person. And they were really great at their job. And I'm going to apologize to this individual um, because I didn't behave in a way that aligns with my values. And I reached out to this person. And the way the apology went was, I'm sorry, not if I've done anything to hurt. No, no, no. It was, I'm sorry for the specific behavior. And it was specific. And I would like to apologize for that. Now I want to tell you what I would do differently. And I want us to continue working together because it was good when it was good. And that's what I want. And you've done nothing wrong. I'm the one who was in the wrong. This is how I would do it differently. And can we just like clean slate, we start over and continue. And this person accepted it and we're good, we're good.
Yeah.
That is how it should go. That's how it should work. And it doesn't. We're on these enemy lists today. You're the villain, like you said, and then you can't get off of it. There are people like Harvey Weinstein and other people who have done really bad things. I don't think there's lists I don't think you get off of, or it doesn't mean you can't continue with your life. You can continue with your life. I really have an issue with the the buzzwords that the levers people know how to pull to get their way. And I'm a
Yes.
big believer in karma, and I do think it catches up to them.
Yeah.
But
It's true.
there's only so many people you can go around saying made you unsafe, where it's like everyone you've worked with has always made you unsafe. I see a pattern here.
Right. No, I get it. I absolutely get it. It's kind of like I don't want to keep harping on social media. I know I do this a lot, but I also feel like that's also part of it, right? Like
Yeah.
like essentially the world has become for likes and clicks, and it's not good. Like I don't know I don't know how else to describe it. You know what I
You
mean?
know
Like
what? You brought up something earlier about listening and people putting out content for like all these likes and clicks you just mentioned. And you said, but who's listening? That's my question is, I know so many people who are like, we got to go create musicians or we've got to go create our content today, got to go make our reels, they invest so much time in this. I don't watch it. Maybe lots of people do, but if everyone's making content, who's watching it? I don't know the
right.
last time I pulled out my phone to just watch reels. Like, who's
Never.
watching all this content?
Right.
People
Well,
are making it. Is anyone watching it?
what's
They must
weird
be, right?
Right. What's weird is it's the thing that you have to do, quote unquote, right? But I've had this conversation with someone, which is, what's the conversion on it? Like if I'm spending all this time making content, like people tell me, oh, to get the podcast out there, you got to do all this stuff on socials, you got to make reels, you got to make shorts, you got to, all of those things. But I'm like, what that gets me is people watching that thing that I made. But what is the conversion to make them then listen to the podcast? Because I'll tell you, it doesn't happen. What happens is, I'll make something, I made a reel that had more likes and views than anything I've ever done in my life. Like I won't, it didn't even go viral. It was just more than I've ever seen in my life. Right. But it didn't bring a single person to the show.
Yeah.
They just liked that one little thing of content. So like, even doing it, I don't understand what the benefit is.
You're
You know what I
right.
mean?
What's the convert? No, you're totally right. Like if you're doing it to get them to watch something, like what's the conversion rate? What is that? I I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know. I've never attempted that. I get it. Like you have an amazing show where you're having interesting conversations with people, and you're right. It is very much like a dinner party. But how many people are watching the thing? I mean, fortunately for me, there's like a team of people, and their job is to get them to watch the thing I
Right.
made. I think if it was full 100% my job to do that, no one would see it, and I would just because I don't believe like my brain doesn't work that way. I just can't with social media. My only social media is just devoted to movies and promoting a movie, talking about movies, and that's it. I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on TikTok. There's a Facebook page about a movie when I have it out to promote the release, and then it's taken down until there's another movie, and then I have an Instagram page that is just to promote my movies and to talk about movies I love, and literally that is its only purpose. There's nothing about my real life like on there at all. Like that's it because I don't know how to interact with social media. It's something that's really unhealthy for me. And Dandelion touches on this. Like you'll
Yeah.
see like it's in there. Like it's unhealthy for me. I don't know how I don't know anyone who said, "Oh my God, social media like makes me feel so good." I don't know a single person. It's just created for addiction, and we're addicted to it. And people are like, "Oh, that's where we live now. People are online." Like, no, you're not. You're not living there. Have you ever had a interaction like this, face to face, or even in person, face to face? It's very different than online because it forces you to listen, and when you see another person's face, there's a humanity there. And
Yeah.
I find it interesting. I think we're getting away from even wanting to do that, right? Like people are like, "Oh, I'll just have long DMs or text message exchanges with you." And it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not the only person. I'm curious what you think. Maybe I'm not the only person who thinks this, but I would love to just see social media completely crash and burn, and we all have to figure it out. And
Yeah.
it's like, "Hey, calling you on the phone. You want to talk for 30 minutes? Like, how you
Well,
doing? Hey, I'm going to
well,
drive to see you."
I have phone anxiety, so please don't call me on the phone. But no, but that's a joke. But no, I completely agree. And the funny thing is when you talk to all of these people, when you talk to creatives and you talk to musicians and filmmakers and all, nobody likes it. So why are we all doing it? Like
Yeah.
it's a self perpetuating thing, right? Like
Yeah.
we don't want to do it, but it's like, well, we have to. But why? Why do we have
Yeah,
to?
why? Why? I think now look, there's some actors I think they do like it. Like
Oh, definitely, definitely.
there's some. I mean, think about what they do for a living.
Yeah.
What they chose, what they want to do and feel so compelled to do for a living involves putting yourself out there in front of people. Now, a lot of them don't, but maybe some do. But yeah, I don't. You're right. For the most part, nobody I've talked to enjoys doing it either.
Right.
We
It's
all
weird.
hate it, but why are we doing it?
It's weird, the kind of an all in there definitely a theme going on, but like touching upon like Marvel and stuff like that, and then you the both this and Holler, right, were IFC films. One of the big conversations going around is the loss of the smaller film, the
Yeah.
indie film and stuff like that. But there's one thing that you had said that really excited me, and that is something that I've been thinking about a lot when people say that these things don't happen anymore, which was that you wanted to take the permission out of their hands when nobody wanted you to make like a music film, and then you just kind of started, you just did it
Yeah.
yourself, right? So like
Yeah.
this is one of the things I don't understand, because I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, all right? So like independent film was like, I'm going to sink my life into this and maybe it
Yeah.
makes it,
90s was,
but
yeah.
like the majority of them didn't, right? The majority of them didn't, but I feel like nobody wants to take risks anymore. I feel like everybody's like, how can I get so and so attached so that so and so will give me 4 to 5 million to kind of kickstart this vanity project of things, but nobody's just like, I'm going to max out these credit cards like Kevin Smith did and make
Yeah.
a $27,000 film, which is one of the things that I found inspiring about you is to not let that someone didn't want to help you make this, so you just started it. You just were like,
Mhm.
well, then it's back to the drawing board. We have to start over again.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. It's funny because you have a filmmaker in Pennsylvania. I forget the town she lives in, but she's a good friend of mine. I can't forget the town she lives in though. Her name's Shatara Michelle Ford, and she made this amazing film Test Pattern. She's a Pennsylvania filmmaker and been nominated for so many awards, Spirit Award. She just finished her second film. She did max out credit cards. She and her partner to make her first film Test Pattern. Remarkable filmmaker. And look, I mean, it's not that I want to go make my movies for $1 million or $2 million. If someone, look, you think someone said, Nicole, we're giving you $5 million or $10 million. And I'm like, no, I
Right.
don't want it. It's not a choice. The choice is, this is the resources I have. Do I make it or not? And I know way too many filmmakers who wait around between films one and two, waiting for that $8 million that maybe comes 9 years later. And there's that huge gap between their films. And I don't want that. I want to go make movies. Now, does it mean I don't have that big, like, I don't know, whatever the breakout Sundance lighthearted comedy is of the year with like a Sundancey actor in it. Maybe I don't have that. I'm fine with that. I
Yeah.
need to build a body of work. That's what this is about. But I think the reason you said nobody takes a chance on small movies, why is everyone so more risk averse than they used to be? My 2 cents is that it comes down to money, and streaming ruined that. And people are like, what makes money? They have to, as companies keep the lights on, they have to make money. And if you all, every time you go see a movie or you click on something or whatever, you're voting for what you want to see. And so if Dandelion's playing and Marvel's playing or Longlegs is playing, and you're like, I'm gonna go get a ticket for Longlegs. What is not a knock on Longlegs, by the way. It's just what's out and what came to mind.
Right. Sure.
We're saying, I want a noisy, cool horror film. That's what you said with your $13.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean you can't, go again and see. You can't see them all. You can totally go see them all. But when you're making choices, that's what you're doing. If you're saying, I want to go see Marvel and not Longlegs, you're saying, I vote Marvel. So what are these companies supposed to do? You're making the choices. You're telling them what you want to see. So if all these people say, I want to see these smaller independent films, then go see them.
Right.
Nobody's preventing you from seeing them. Go see them. It takes more work to find them, and that sucks. Like, you often find them at the acclaimed indie movies, the 20th row down on your Apple or Netflix or VOD site. Like it's you got to scroll all the way down. But those great films that were made in the 90s, like they're there. They're still there. They're just not as accessible. You have to dig to find them, and people are lazy, and there's too much to watch. You have to go, if you ever go to a record store and you go crate diving, and you're digging through crates to find that, like, I don't know, that $6 Carole King record, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you have to do. You have to literally take out your little remote and you got to go crate diving and find your movies. And people don't even want to do that.
It is weird. I think part of it is the physical nature, though, too. Like, you mentioned going into a record store. There's something thrilling about leafing through vinyl. There's nothing thrilling. Like,
Yeah.
I don't leaf through Spotify. Actually, I do because it's my job. But
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
like like any kind of streaming, any kind of thing like that. You're pretty much operating with what they put in front of your face.
You are.
And
And they need to take some responsibility for that too. But
yes,
their responsibility is money. That's their responsibility. And then because they put that in your fit, it's like, I think, okay, so it kind of goes back to like something someone talked to me once about McDonald's, and they're like, people love McDonald's. It's like it is probably like the most trusted brand because you know what you're getting. No one's
yeah,
advertising a Michelin star restaurant to you. It's like we're burgers and fries. People trust us to be burgers and fries, and we fucking are. Like, if all you have in the drive half a mile, you're gonna hit a McDonald's, right? Like, if you've like, they're everywhere. Now, like a place that does like, I don't know, good scratch like wood fire pizza, if that's near you, I'd probably stop and get like a nice little like pizza on my road trip over that. I'd stop at like a pit fire pizza over a McDonald's, but it's not there. It's not everywhere. McDonald's is everywhere.
right.
So
It's true.
like there's responsibility on both sides, right? Like who wants to make the effort, but then you're burying this shit. So you're not advertising it that much. So how can people can't go see and eat what they don't know about?
That's right. It's self-perpetuating. Like it's chicken and the egg. It really is. Like
What do you think is the fix? Because I don't know.
Well, first of all, I am somebody who wants to destroy all algorithms. Like I should actually get a T-shirt made that
I'm
says
so there with you.
I think that's part of the problem, which is like you mentioned karma earlier. I believe the algorithm is the technical embodiment of karma because you only get out of it what you put into it, right? So it's reacting to what you do, but it isn't truly giving you what you want. It's just giving you what you clicked on the last time, right? So like
Yeah.
it doesn't acknowledge human. So like, do I think AI is the answer? No. But I do think that an AI that knows all about you will do better than whatever a yes no algorithm will do.
Yeah.
I think that we're kind of it kind of goes back to the safe and me too and stuff like that. I also think that there's a paradigm shift in all of this that we haven't settled yet. We're still trying to figure it out. I heard somebody talk about Netflix, a very popular comedian talk about the numbers on his stand-up special when his special was on the front page to when it fell off the front page, that it went 2-0. And this is like a known comic. And it's just because no one searches for anything because no one knows
No,
what they're
no, no.
specifically looking
Oh,
for,
you're
right?
totally right. You're totally right. And we expect things to make money in 24 to 48 hours, and we're fighting for eyeballs. And so think about how long things stay in movie theaters now. How many movies I see where I'm like, oh my God, that's playing this weekend. So life happens. You can't go, or
Yeah.
you're fucking tired and you're like, I don't want to drive to movie theater, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
And you really are going to go. Guess what? That movie's gone.
That's
New
right.
movies are there. And then when can you see it again? You got to go create that. You got to go searching, and then you forget about it. And
Yep.
then one day you're sitting at home and it pops up. You're like, there's that cool movie I wanted to see. And people, like, you only have the briefest blink of an eye to monetize whatever your song is, your album, your movie. And if it doesn't instantly grab the eyeballs, there's no patience for it.
Yeah.
Then that's it. You're like that comedian. You're not there in front of their eyes anymore. And there's a steep drop off.
That right there is the answer, by the way, and it thematically ties into Dandelion. Look at me, I'm telling you, king of segues, is patience. I think patience is the answer, and I don't think as a society we have patience in anything. And I think we just need to kind of take a break and settle down. It's crazy. Do you have time to go through this Jauntlet questionnaire real quick?
Do it. I love this. I wish we should just, I want to be on the podcast again. It's so fun.
I love it. We could definitely set something
More
up.
people should listen to your podcast. It's like so good.
We'll just do a podcast together. You can be my co-host.
Oh God, I would be a terrible one. But when it's available, send it to me and I'll post it.
Definitely will. Yes, on the socials that we all hate.
Yeah.
So this is the Jauntlet. It starts with the one hit wonders. This is you're just picking a favorite. It's just one hit in name only. Billy Joel or Elton John? Who do you prefer?
Elton John.
Okay, good answer. Debbie Harry or Joan Jett?
Joan Jett.
Good answer. She's also from PA, so you get the thumbs up on that. Aretha Franklin or Tina Turner?
Aretha Franklin.
All right. Nirvana or Pearl Jam?
Nirvana.
Janis Joplin or Stevie Nicks?
Stevie Nicks.
The big cliche, the Beatles or the Stones?
Beatles.
Okay. And the last one of the one hit wonders, Bohemian Rhapsody or Stairway to Heaven?
Stairway to Heaven.
Okay. I'm going to throw a one in here specifically for you. I like to do this every once in a while with a guest, which is guest specific. And there's no right or wrong answer. And you can say that you don't want to answer. Bryce or Aaron Dessner?
I can't answer that.
I know.
Oh my God, that's so good. That's so good.
I thought so.
Oh my God. You can give me another well, you know what you should have done? You should have picked two Big Red Machine or National songs and had me pick between.
Yes. Damn. Next time. Well, we'll do this again.
Next time. If you can think of two off the top of your head, I'll do it.
It's not going to work because I'm gonna argue with myself to be able to pick those two.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Oh man,
it's great.
You would have opened up a battleground on that. No, neither. They're the same person.
I love it.
They're the same person. They just have different. They just sound different, and when they talk.
The second half of this is the top 10 countdown. As we talked about before, Jawn can mean whatever you want it to mean. It doesn't have to be anything specific. But number one, what was your first Jawn? What was the first thing you were obsessed with as a kid?
Movies.
Yeah, I assumed that was going to be the answer there. It makes sense. Number two, what's your current Jawn? What are you into right now?
I'm really into listening to this podcast called Poetry Unbound.
Ooh, what's that? That sounds fascinating.
Someone recommended it to me. It takes a poem and it unpacks the poem before you hear it.
Interesting.
So that after you listen to it for a first time, your versus afterwards, like we hear most of them. Some people may think that ruins it for you, but it enriches it for me.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating.
I listen to it before I go to bed, and the most soothing voice reads the poetry to you.
Wow, that's killer. I got to check that out.
Yeah.
Number three, what was your first live show you ever saw?
Beastie Boys.
Hell yeah. Good answer. I like that. Number four, what was the last live show you went to?
Future Islands.
Oh, good one. Also a good one.
I'm also, they do the best show ever. They are so good live. They're better live.
That's killer. I'm also a radio DJ on Monday nights, and Future Islands gets a lot of spins on our station.
Good. That makes me happy.
Number five, what was your favorite live show you ever saw?
My favorite one. Sam Beam and Jessica Hoop at the Fonda in Los Angeles.
I like
when
it.
Their album was being released. And the stage had dozens of eclectic lamps on the stage with them all lit, and it was very cool.
That's awesome. It kind of reminds me of I saw the Flaming Lips when I was in college, and they played like our Hadley Union building or whatnot, and their entire stage backing was just Christmas lights, but they were Christmas lights still in the packaging. So like it was like it was great. It was absolutely great. Number 6, who have you never seen live that you wish you could have? They can be living or dead.
Liz Phair.
Oh, yes. I'm a big fan. I've been trying for years to get her to come on this show. One day it'll
Liz
happen.
Phair.
Good answer. Number 7, name an unappreciated Jawn, something you wish had more attention to it.
The band in my movie, Brother Elsie.
Oh, good answer. Good answer.
Yeah. Or the actress, Grace Kaiser in my movie.
Okay, good answer. Keeping it home. I like it. Number 8 is, I'm actually going to run an audible on number 8. It's normally favorite album, but because you're a director, I got to ask, what's your favorite film?
Splendor in the Grass by Elia Kazan.
Very cool. My favorite film is one of the more embarrassing things. I don't know if I've talked about it on this podcast or not, but my favorite film of all time is Dream a Little Dream with Corey Feldman and Corey Haim. And
I've never seen it, never heard of it.
Check it out. Okay. It's directed by Mark Rocco, who did like Murder in the First. And he, it's a body switch movie. Okay. Jason Robards is in it. Harry Dean Stanton, Piper Laurie. It's fantastic. But it's like, what if an auteur made a body switch movie, essentially, is how I feel about it. And then casted the Corys in it. It's called Dream a Little Dream.
And who's the director?
Mark Rocco.
Okay. Dream a Little Dream. Okay. Writing it down.
Yes. Awesome. You'll have to let me know what you think. Number 9, name an artist who you'll consume anything they put out.
The tie between Andrea Arnold and Luca Guadagnino.
Good
Sean Baker. Okay. I got to pick one between the 3. I'm going to go with Andrea Arnold.
Okay, good answer. The 10th and final of the top 10 countdown. What is your favorite Jawn of all time? Can be anything you want it to be.
Anything. Pineapple gummy bears.
Oh, yes. I like it.
I don't have to separate them out anymore. You can actually go to a CVS, a Kroger, Walgreens, Ralph's. You can actually get now they do them like pineapple gummy bears.
That's incredible. I like it.
And when I used to call them clear until an embarrassing age, and someone pointed out to me, if you flip the package over, Nicole, they're actually pineapple because there's no such thing as clear flavored, you dumbass. And so, but still now, till this day, because it's a habit as a kid, I'm like, I like the clear gummy bears.
That's amazing. I love it. I absolutely love it. The film Dandelion, out in theaters right now, just came out on Friday. Well, this will be in the future, but just came out July 12th. I always got to remember that in my head, that I'm not speaking in real time.
Yeah, go see it. It was good enough for the New York Times. It should be good enough for other people. Please go see it.
Yeah, and it's in theaters. Like I said, I'm in the burbs, and it's playing 5 minutes from my house, so it's everywhere.
It's like 480, 500, close to 500 theaters. Go see it.
Very cool. And the soundtrack is available, including songs that you helped create. And also, see, you're really going to have to come back because there's so much that I wanted to talk about that we didn't even get to. We didn't even get to you ending up with the song on the Big Red Machine album. Inspired, from the is it weird to like see your name in credits on a track like a track or two away from Taylor Swift? Like, does that
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I went to the record store and I bought it, but I'm not an egomaniac, so I will get it, and then I want to know what they thought, but I don't want them to know it's me. I'm a very behind the scenes person, so I'll go and I'll ask like, "Hey, what'd you think of this record?" And then the person at the Amoeba in LA was like, "I really love the Ghost of Cincinnati, the one Aaron sings on." And I was like, I wanted to be like, say something, and I just couldn't. I was too shy, and I went, I'll have to give it a listen.
Oh no, come on. You couldn't even give them a little. Oh, geez.
I can't.
What I wanted to ask about it, though, was did you have any influence on it sounding so similar to, not similar, but so sonically like a sonic cousin of Elliott Smith? Because I know you're an Elliott Smith fan, and like it is beautiful. Like it's
I think
absolutely
Aaron's a
gorgeous.
big fan of Elliott Smith too. I'm a massive Elliott Smith fan. I had a whole story about in high school how my friend and I saved up all of our money from, when people give you graduation money. I don't know if they still do that, but you get the cards and graduation party, and we pooled all of our money together to go see Elliott Smith and drive from Ohio to LA. It's another, have me back again, I'll tell you the story.
Oh,
But yeah, I'm massive. I thought I had all of his records, and I found out there's one I don't have. So I'm one away from. I thought I would end up with Roman Candle, and they just re-released Roman Candle, and I
yep.
have it. One more, and I'm there.
Did you hear
Yeah,
that?
but that was it. I remember when we first started working together, I said Elliott Smith is a huge touchstone for all this.
That's killer. Did you listen to that Heat Miser re-release from last year that they put out? It's really good. It's really, really good.
Did I? The band he
Yeah.
was in?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
that out.
That's great.
Yeah, I have that. Yeah.
He was the best, the absolute best. He's one of my answers for who I never saw live. He came to town, and I was like, I'll catch him next time. And then there wasn't a next time. And so big regret.
Kind of what my story's about. But yeah, it was
Oh, no.
yeah, I'm massive Elliott Smith fan. I just ugh. Mwah.
Well, we will definitely have to talk again, and I can't thank you enough for not just for coming on here and talking with me, but just your creative spirit and your output, and thank you for creating things that have something to say, because I feel like it's lacking, and I'm so glad that we got to have this conversation.
Thank you. I had so much fun chatting with you.
My thanks again to Nicole for such an awesome hang. Dandelion is out now through IFC Films, and the soundtrack featuring new music by Aaron and Bryce Dessner of the band The National, as well as the cast of the film, is out now on all streaming providers. And Nicole's debut film, Holler, is available to rent on all VOD services. Links to all of those are, of course, as always, in the show notes. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to the Yo, That's My Jawn podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. And gang, it is never too late to get yourself a super awesome Jawn Scout Merit Badge for Citizenship of the World just by rating and reviewing us. Don't forget to visit www.yothat'smyjawn.com for the link tree with links to articles, merchandise, all of the previous episodes of this podcast, guest appearances on other podcasts, and more. And while you're there, be sure to sign up for our mailing list to get all of the updates delivered straight into your inbox. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YoThat'sMyJawn for updates and live streams. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter X at Yo That's My Jawn, and search Yo That's My Jawn on YouTube to find the Yo That's My Jawn YouTube channel. Like and subscribe the heck out of that ish. We want to hear from you. Reach out, and touch some Jawn. All right. As of right now, we will probably have another episode coming next Monday, so be on the lookout for that. Sound good? Right on. Blue skies. Until next time, everybody. That's my Jawn. Displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. You taste it, things that don't need to be measured. Yo, That's My Jawn is a Lonely Monk production. Written and produced by yours truly, Nate Runkle. Theme song by me, under the moniker Nate 3.0. Special thanks to Fox Run Brands, DX Ferris, Andrew Scott, Maggie Poulos, Dan Drago, Natalie Runkle, and the beautifully vibrant and wickedly stunning Katie Daubney. If you or anyone you know has any ideas they would like to share or any guests they would like to hear on the podcast, please feel free to reach out to us at yothat'smyjawn@gmail.com or hit us up on the socials at yothat'smyjawn. Until next time, be sure to displace the guilt and embrace the pleasure. Tilt your head back and shout to the world, Yo, that's my Jawn.